Hello and welcome to Reimagine 2021. This is our ninth conference in a monthly series of events, bringing you nothing but the best projects, bright minds, and leaders in the space. We've been fortunate enough to invite many talented individuals and teams to come speak with us, providing updates, insights, and all the above that's happening in crypto. We've done these themed events for the past year. We're really excited that the demand and everybody, is into these monthly events, and that's why we produce them and put them on for our viewers, our audience, whether you're just coming into the space or you've been in the space, there's a little bit of everything for everybody. We've done What the Fi is DeFi. We've done Tales from the Crypto during Halloween, Happy HODL Days. We've done NFTs. We try to stay on top of the market. This conference is a little bit different. The concept behind it really is pretty straightforward. It's Game of Chains, Battle for the Throne. Well, we're talking to communities, protocols, networks, the pros and cons, highlighting like what they do best, some of the things that they're trying to work on, and not only that, the projects within the ecosystem that have chosen to develop within the networking community. So pretty exciting. I'll be your host today, Adam, from the MouseBelt team. Where we focus on early stage investments to our accelerator, or providing development support to a number of growing projects, as well as education, which is critical within our MouseBelt University program. Our main objective is pretty simple. Our goals are to increase adoption, use cases, and real-world applications. So I've been kind of talking a lot here at the intro. I have a super exciting panel today put on by Dodo Exchange. We have Dai here, the co-founder, along with a few other panelists that I'm super excited to engage in discussions with. How's everybody doing? Let me go ahead and first get some quick intros. Daniel, you're new to the show. Alex, you're new. Dada, your team are repeat guests, and very fortunate, appreciative for you guys to not only participate but actually sponsor. Right, money just goes back to like our student programs and like the production quality of this event, which is we hold a high bar there, right, to share what we're all doing in this space. So I'll go ahead and stop talking. Let's go around. Alex, we'll start with you. Name, title, name of the company. Thank you for joining.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. I'm Alex Shevchenko. Really enjoying this panel. Really enjoying the captions that you are given to all of these things. So super cool. I'm a CEO of Aurora Labs. We're building a scaling solution to Ethereum. This project Aurora is deployed on top of Near blockchain. So from me today, you're going to hear a lot about Near, an alternative L1 solution, I would say, to Ethereum, and also how we can help Ethereum ecosystem to grow.
Awesome. Daniel, how about yourself? Name, title, company, and excited to have you participate as well. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having. My name is Daniel. I'm working at Off-Chain Labs, where we're building the Arbitrum protocol, which is a sort of layer 2 optimistic rollup style solution on top of Ethereum. As of a few weeks ago, we're live on mainnet beta, if my timing is correct. I do software engineering and kind of general technical communication.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on. How you doing, Dai? Thanks for joining again. This is kind of like your second, third time. I know your team's been on a few times. Give us your name, give us your title, who you're with, and we'll kick this off.
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. Yeah, thanks for having me here again. Yeah, so you can call me Dai. I'm the co-founder of Dodo, and Dodo is a decentralized exchange powered by the PMM algorithm to bring the best liquidity for everyone on chain. Yeah, now we are built on Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain, and we are exploring more multi-chains. Yeah, so thanks.
Awesome.
Here, this is the
awesome. Thanks for joining. Thanks for contributing to the whole Reimagine 2021 conference and production. Let's go ahead and kick this off. One thing that people are tuning in here, we have students, we have blockchain enthusiasts, we have developers, investors, right? Everybody from A to Z. One thing that I've noticed, and people will notice, is everybody is working at the moment on Ethereum. I'd love to get kind of your thoughts on that initial decision. And I think a lot of discussion, we'll talk about the challenges and barriers, and what you guys think of that, and how you guys are evolving your guys' teams to contribute to some of these hurdles. And then we'll also talk about like interoperability and just kind of things that you guys are focused on moving forward. I'll go and start with you, Dai. You guys have been around a long time, strong team. What was the decision to choose to develop on Ethereum, and how has been the experience so far?
Yeah, sure. So at first, actually, our team grow together in the Ethereum ecosystem. Yeah, so back in like 2017, actually, many team members of the Dodo team work on DDEX, which is somehow the very early order book exchange, decentralized exchange on Ethereum, especially in Asia. Yeah, and so we have gathered a lot of engineering experience, and we know very well about the Ethereum ecosystem. Yeah, and there is not even the word of DeFi back then, but actually we are already building the financial applications. Yeah, and then running order book DEX on Ethereum is very struggling, right? And we have went through 3 years, and there is not many user growth on Ethereum for DeFi applications, and there are other teams face the same problem. We share our insights and share our problems with the team like DYDX, right? All the order book DEX, yeah, and then we feel that there must somehow Ethereum should evolve itself, or we need to have other layer 2 solutions or sidechain solutions. Yeah, and after the DEX, I and my ex-colleague come out from DDEX and build Dodo. Yeah, because we think somehow the algorithm, the liquidity make more sense on the current infrastructure of Ethereum, because it's a charge less gas fee. Yeah, for the AMM type of DEX. Yeah, and based on AMM, we involved the algorithm. We created the PMM algorithm to give a higher capital efficient solution for as a liquidity provider. Yeah, and that is how Dodo built, and why we chose Ethereum, and why we still expect more on a better infrastructure, because so far, because we need a very high frequent price feeding on the chain, and so the PMM performance can't work out the best results on Ethereum. Yeah, so we put much effort on multi-chain strategy. Yeah, to trying to involve our trading experience for the users on the current and on new users for DeFi. Yeah, that's the story.
Yeah, no, great. I think Ethereum is a good environment for that, and obviously kind of has a strong community, and we'll get into some of that moving forward in the discussion. Daniel, before we get into kind of your current project, Arbitrum, what was the decision, I guess, or the thoughts behind kind of the Ethereum ecosystem? Was it the same thing in terms of strong community, resources, infrastructure that made you kind of, or was it just kind of the first blockchain that you guys thought was capable of what you guys were working on?
Yeah, so it's a similar history, but I guess initially it was more by necessity. So the initial Arbitrum protocol, which was conceived by the current 3 founders, Ed, Stephen, and Harry, was conceived early 2015, maybe even late 2014, the sort
wow.
of prototypical version of Arbitrum. Yeah, so it actually sort of predates Ethereum, funnily enough. And the core component there was really this kind of efficient fraud-proof scheme. So they had kind of, recognized that scalability would be a problem, came up with a solution. It wasn't something that was really workable on Bitcoin, and then Ethereum emerged. So it was like, okay, here's where we should focus our attention. For me personally, before I connected with them, I kind of came to Ethereum weirdly in a similar way, where I was in the Bitcoin world and very interested in Lightning. And from sort of just exploring the sort of research of layer 2 protocols, realized that with a flexible base layer like Ethereum, you had, much more opportunity to do trustless things on layer 2. And then we sort of, the community sort of has gone through these iterations of what's the best L2 we should focus on, but we sort of landed on optimistic rollup. And yeah, that's what we're doing on Arbitrum. So yeah, I mean, I think Ethereum, it's been around long and it's still sort of where a lot of the action is. It has sort of the most robust ecosystem in terms of apps, in terms of developers, in terms of users. So that's certainly like where we'll be focusing on for the time being. I think certainly in principle, I think I can say, on the personal level, I'm not, I don't believe Ethereum will just like forever be overtaking everything. And we're definitely open to, exploring building on other chains. In terms of the experience of developing this sort of protocol on Ethereum, it's funny because in some sense what we're doing is, optimistic rollup is the sort of new chain, right? Even though it's layer 2 on top of Ethereum. And one of the directions that we're seeing the sort of dev tooling going and just the way users have to think about things are going is from the sort of one chain model to multi-chain. So that's been a lot of some of the work that I've been doing and talking to other projects, wallet providers, block explorers, infrastructure providers, is sort of making this transition to, it's going to be a multi-chain world, even within the Ethereum world, and just sort of getting to the point where everything can support that, which I'm sure we can get more into detail. Yeah. I also just wanted to say I saw that she showed some Dodo merch. I don't know if I can. Here we go. Is that right? This is an Arbitrum rollup we made for rollup. So yeah,
that's cool.
If anyone wants some, just let me know.
That's cool. No, I appreciate that. And yeah, definitely. I do want to touch on some of those points after we get Alex's perspectives in terms of interoperability and like, some of the risk associated there and the decisions to collaborate or, I don't know, integrate other chains. And we'll touch on that. Alex, what's going on, man? What are your thoughts here? I mean, you're developing on Near, so I think, well, you're familiar with both networks, but I'll let you kind of, elaborate here. We have Dai, and Dodo really developing on Ethereum. You have Daniel, the Ethereum ecosystem, you obviously too, but you're also working, on the Near network. So what's going on there? What are, what's the decision, I guess, to develop on Near?
Yeah. So one second, Daniel, on his points here. Obviously, Ethereum is the biggest ecosystem right now, the most capable, the most profound, the most deep, and I believe one of the most, or probably the most, valuing the blockchain principles, the decentralization. And trustless operations of stuff. So this is, I believe, super important. Initially, Aurora was developed inside of Near itself. So that's why Aurora right now is a spin-off outside of the Near, and we are moving on as a separate company. So our ideas was that obviously there is Ethereum, and a de facto EVM or Ethereum virtual machine is a runtime for smart contracts that is widely used right now. I believe, well, this is my personal point of view, I believe none of the existing layer 1 solutions are able to succeed in the long term in case they do not have the support of the EVM runtime, right? So in case you are not given, this is like a compatibility thing, right? So if you will take a look at Windows 10, up until now, Windows supports MS-DOS applications. This is weird thing, but it is there, right? And Ethereum is not going to go anywhere, right? But new projects, again, going to second Daniel, new chains will be there, and we need to help Ethereum users and Ethereum ecosystem to expand beyond Ethereum itself, right? So that was a clear idea and a clear understanding, and that's why Aurora project appeared there. So literally what we are doing is actually bringing this EVM runtime inside of the Near blockchain. So people that have MetaMask are able to connect to Near and do some execution on top of it. People who are developing applications, they're able to take their smart contracts as is and deploy inside of Near blockchain through Aurora, right? Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So,
yeah, no, yeah, interesting. So to kind of touch on that a little bit, how important is it, Alex, for this interoperability, I guess, and how does one choose, or let's just start there. How important is interoperability? At one point, it was, maxis, right? A lot of max list and whatever community, whatever blockchain you were involved in. That's all it was going to be. It's evolved, and a lot of teams and projects and startups and people developing understand that we need to collaborate a little bit more and it shouldn't be so siloed. And here we are, opening things up. So I'll start with you, Alex. What how important is interoperability for the space? To kind of go from one chain to another.
Well, I think this is crucial, and I believe many problems are not yet solved. We can go in depth into this later on. But in general, like as you said, blockchain itself as a self-sustained container, you need to make sure that all of the operations that are there, they are robust and they are the same on all of the nodes in the blockchain. That's why you just cannot get to the website and check what is there, because the website content can be different for different nodes, right? So that's the problem, and that's why you need to make sure that everything is there. That's why blockchains are disconnected from the outer world, and here the interoperability piece plays lots of sense, right? So in case you will figure out how to build bridges in between blockchains, how to help blockchains to communicate with each other, this will tremendously help. Instead of having two separate economies, you will be able to bridge these economies. You will be able to create something like a European Union in between different blockchains, right? And this will be, the zone, the shared economic zone, when goods and people can travel for the benefit of the whole world.
Yeah, no, nice. I think it's very critical. I think it's important. Daniel, you guys are EVM compatible, obviously. What are some of the risks, I guess, associated when? So, are you compatible with any other chains at the moment, or is it just Ethereum?
So we're currently building on Ethereum. In principle, you could run Arbitrum on anything that's EVM compatible. You could even run it on things that are like less than EVM compatible technically, which is a sort of interesting property, but I suspect that won't matter for any L1s anytime soon. But yeah, I mean, I think even over the past year, it became clear to us. I mean, I would second pretty much everything Alex just said, including the fact that the sort of EVM is the standard, and it became clear to us how it's important to really go from 95% to 100% EVM compatibility kind of on the bottom level, and then on the sort of higher layers of client-side tooling and things like that, being able to support compatibility with everything that interacts in and around the EVM, so that developers can develop on Arbitrum, so users can use Arbitrum and sort of have it feel like they're using a familiar layer one, became increasingly important. And yeah, it's funny, in terms of interoperability. First of all, I agree. I think it's very important. And up until recently, it's been this neglected thing in the space. We've been theorizing about it for a while. There's all sorts of research on interoperability between chains, but I would say up until recently, it was sort of frustrating to see not much of this stuff was really being built and was really usable. And I suspect part of that is because going with the EU metaphor, the international relation between certain communities has been tense, and maybe that's why there just isn't as much interest. But yeah, I mean, I think the stuff you're doing with Aurora and Harmony is certainly leading the way in some of this interoperability stuff. And a lot of the stuff that we're thinking about, even though, we're just thinking of bridging, Ethereum to our own, to, a trustless L2, we end up dealing with a lot of similar questions. I think the research here and the development kind of converges in this interesting way, basically because, whether you're talking about two different independent L1s or whether you're talking about a rollup and an L2, you're talking about like bridging and passing messages between these like independent chains. And then it becomes a question of what is the bridging mechanism? What sort of trust assumptions does it use? So we've definitely, obviously we're like focused on, we're on mainnet. We want to get out of mainnet beta. So we're focused on that. So it's hard to do everything at once. But one of the things that we're doing is starting to communicate with other teams, other L2s, teams like some of the Cello people, they have this optics protocol, the Cosmos team. There's all these sort of interchain communication standards, and it's feeling like it's getting to be time that we all start at least like, if not converging on one standard, which is always hard, at least just understanding the differences so that developers and users can reason about this stuff. So we should.
And what about like, we're talking about kind of free flow, interoperable, collaborating, partnering. What are some of the like, I don't know, requirements? I've been chatting about this, often, and it's kind of like, obviously we would love to bridge, and connect and be compatible with other chains. And we're just talking about it right now. It's very critical and crucial. But like, what are some of the risks associated that? And chains are different, consensus mechanisms, security, privacy, right? Some of the underlying principles that each chain has. Like, how do you view when if you're going to, bridge to another chain? Does that play like a big factor? Obviously, everybody would be like, "Oh, bridge to my chain, bridge to mine." But like, how important is it to pick and choose like who you bridge to, and or is that important at all?
Yeah, I'll start and then I'll hand it off to Alex because I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts about this. But basically, like the short answer is yes, those things are all important, and it really depends on the details. There's kind of two questions here when you're talking about, in my mind, when you're talking about interchain communication. There's, you have these two sort of separate state spaces. Let's say these two L1s, for example, that each have their own security model, right? Some chains are more secure than others, and then there's the question of the security of the bridging mechanism itself. And it does get complicated, is what I would say. There's an interesting debate that I'm seeing going on about the Matic chain, which was sort of, put out there as an Ethereum L2, and some are insisting, no, actually, it's better thought of as an L1 with a trustless bridge. And honestly, I'm not sure. It does get tricky. I feel comfortable saying that, there are trustless L2s like Arbitrum. Those are L2s. There's other things I could point to and say they're definitely L1s, but I think the lines are going to keep blurring. I'm sort of deliberately not answering your question because I think it's a hard question, but I think basically it's complicated, and this is something we need to start like really getting clear terminology on and considering. And I think kind of the core question I would say is, what is the bridging mechanism that you're using for interoperability, and what, if any, new trust assumptions are introduced by it? And I will just say like the work that's being done around NEAR and like light clients to Ethereum is a really cool example of like, bridging independent L1s in like a very trust minimized way. So
No, that's right. Thanks for kind of that feedback, right? I think people just think we just build bridges. We're building a bridge right now from Nervos to Cardano, and it's good to highlight some of these questions. Like, we're not sure, we're unsure, we're experimenting, got to figure out what it is. But you're right, it's getting all blurred. Alex, what are your thoughts there? Like, in terms of bridging, is it just bridging assets, messaging, or do you have to like really think about, are there users over there, the security, the community, does it benefit, one or the other? And like, what are your thoughts on not just bridging to everything, but, strategically, being interoperable with certain specific chains, I guess?
Right. So, well, from my point of view, being interoperable with the Ethereum ecosystem right now is a must-have for any chain. And in general, I would love to see the world of blockchains fully connected, having all of the bridges everywhere, or at least having an ability, maybe through multiple hops, to go like in the Lightning Network in Bitcoin, to go from one chain to another chain, right? But obviously, again, super important are the risk model of the bridges, and super important the risks model of the blockchain and the consensus algorithm that are there. And I just want to light here one specific problem, even in the smallest thing, right? In the tokens bridging, I'd like to highlight one one problem that is up to decision and up to the solution in the networks. So in case you have multiple blockchains, it means that, for example, a Dodo token, you are able to bridge to Arbitrum through many different ways. So you can bridge it to BSC, then you can bridge it to Matic, you can bridge it to Phantom, and then you can bridge it back to Ethereum and then to Arbitrum, right? And this will be a different token rather than if you will bridge Dodo token directly to Arbitrum, or you are going to use it there, right? And here's the problem: the consistency of the tokens is a super big problem. It is fully unsolved right now, and it cannot be solved by any single participant, right? We need to come on board, sit together in the room, and decide how the hell we are going to decide this. How we are going to have the difference in these two tokens, right? Because the difference is really there. Because if you are bridging through multiple hops, your token, and then you're relying on the security of every single channel there that you're using. And if only one channel is broken, then your bridge token worth nothing, literally, right? And so they are different, but like users are never taken care. If I open my wallet and I see $100 there, I do not care what was the path to Ukraine, where I'm currently based. What was the path of this $100 to my wallet, right? And for user to have different tokens that are eventually starting with the same token, but were bridged into different ways, well, it will be super complicated for them. At first time, we can solve this problem with the AMM solutions that are going to exchange this token one to another. But eventually, since the ways how you can bridge tokens, there are so many ways how you can bridge it. In fact, in case you have more than 3 networks that are interconnected, there are infinite ways of bridging the token. So yeah, we need to somehow help the users to solve this problem of the consistency. And this is just only one small problems of the interconnected world. So yeah, encourage everyone everyone who have the same ideas and same problems in mind. Let's come together. Let's try to solve these problems, because they are going to hit us really, really soon.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah, no, that's definitely good. Some good insight, good perspective. A lot of things to think about when we're talking about bridging and interoperability. Dai, like, how about your team? You obviously focus on Ethereum. How do you see integrating with other chains? Have you already done that? What are your thoughts there? I know, there are some, infrastructure, kind of gas costs, right, on Ethereum, and congestion and all these things that everybody's trying to figure out and provide solutions. How does Dodo, I guess, work or innovate in that front? Are you guys working on other chains, or are you guys open to cross-chain, multi-chain capability?
Yeah, sure. So we start on Ethereum, yeah, and then we also build on Binance Smart Chain, yes, because actually for different chains there are different ecosystem, right? For Ethereum, the developers a large group and very experienced, so there are a lot of composability, like among these DeFi protocols. Yeah, and on Binance Smart Chain, there are really a lot of retail users on Binance Smart Chain, and they are using Dodo, and they are participating the IDO events on Dodo. These are great. And recently we just deployed on Polygon as well. Yeah, because Binance Smart Chain is facing a problem of scalability. Yeah, so, and now there is somehow there is a right timing for Polygon. So there are some like volume go from Ethereum to Polygon. Yeah, and now we are prepare for the deploy on Arbitrum and also on Aurora. Yeah, and actually, multi-chain strategy is a very important thing for Dodo. Yeah, first of all, due to our liquidity algorithm, we do need a high performance chain to support the high capital efficiency liquidity. So that can really, show how powerful of our algorithm is. There will be more unique use cases on new chains. And the second thing is, it's very important to be a first mover on a new ecosystem. Yeah, so we are trying to be one of the first movers and also the leading DEX on a new chain. Yeah, and so when we are looking at all of these layer 2 and chains, our philosophy is, first of all, we prefer EVM chain. Yeah, so, and also the legitimacy is very important. Yeah, and so when we get reached with Arbitrum team, and we think this is the team that's with, so-called legitimacy. Yeah, it's very important to enhance our community and also branding in the whole ecosystem, in the whole Ethereum ecosystem. Yeah, so now we are also, have, already deployed on Arbitrum and waiting for to migrate our tokens on the chain, and also we are promoting this layer 2 into Asia as well. Yeah, and another aspect is EVM is not enough. We also need to go on a non-EVM chain to hedge the risk of the EVM chain when it comes to the scaling problem. Yeah, and that's why we talked with Near, we talked with Solana, because they are not the pure EVM chain. Yeah, and I see a good advantage on Aurora because it is EVM, but it's not a pure EVM. Yeah, so this is very interesting. Yeah, so we will also, plan to join the Aurora ecosystem and seeking the opportunity to join the Aurora DAO. Yeah, to bring more resource and make this chain more approachable to other partners of us. Yeah, so this is basically our strategy on the multi-chain strategy. And one of the advantage for Dodo to deploy on multi-chain is that actually we are a one-stop shop for developers and new users, because you can use Dodo to issue a native token on this new chain and launch an IDO event to do fundraising and also bootstrap your liquidity in our liquidity mining program. Yeah, and also if you want to do something not only in DeFi, we will also have the plan to launch the Dodo NFT platform, which means you can not just issue fungible tokens but also non-fungible tokens, and also fractionize this NFT into fungible tokens to have a better liquidity. Yeah, so we are also expanding our scope of assets to support these different assets issuing and trading. Yeah, so that's basically what we are doing and what's in our roadmap. Yeah, so the two teams are very important partners to us. Yeah,
Definitely. And real quick before I move on, you touched on a lot of points that I was going to bring up anyway, so I'm glad you touched on kind of the purpose and objective. Like, how important is it? You're creating a lot of value, not only to your ecosystem partners and multi-chain partners, but you're creating value for the user. And that's kind of been a real challenge over the last couple of years of like product market fit. And we've all building infrastructure and tooling, right, to kind of make the onboarding or the UI UX, the design flow a lot better. It seems like you working with all of these partners is really adding value to the users of the users of Dodo, right? How important is that, I think, to you guys to be able to do this for the end user at the end of the day?
Yeah, you mean how our partners can add value to our end users?
Yeah, well, it seems like there's a focus. You're working with two partners here. You brought up some other names in the blockchain space. That really adds value to the Dodo users that are leveraging the DEX. To move tokens around, and we're kind of talking about interoperability and like this multi-chain verse. It seems like product market fit, and over the last few years, it's been very like we just talked about. It's been very siloed, but you guys are bringing it all together into one spot. Do you guys listen to your community? Is there a lot of feedback on those efforts, and do you listen to that, or are you guys just very proactive and ahead of the curve, I would say?
Yeah, I think first of all, I think our mission is to bring different kinds of assets, tradable on chain, and bring the very best trading experience for traders. So traders can always find the best price anytime, anywhere on Dodo. Yeah, so that's why we not only just support fungible tokens, but also NFT assets. Yeah, not just support on Ethereum, but also BSC, also Arbitrum, also at Aurora in the future. Yeah, so the trading there are some main metrics for trading service, best price, quick, right, and the low cost. Yeah, so I think this mission and also vision that drive us to select the promising partners that can work with us to bring the very best trading experience to our users, and not just only the current DeFi users, but also in the future, if you learn the whole crypto industry, there will be massive new users. Maybe that even don't know what DeFi means now. Maybe they don't really have the MetaMask Ethereum wallet now, but finally they will enter into this industry and become users in it and live in this ecosystem. So if you believe in this, and this is very important, not only just focus on the current ecosystem, but also prepare for the future.
Awesome. Daniel, I'm going to ask you guys, both of you, the same question, and I'll start with you, Daniel. How do you guys increase in target developers to get building on your protocol, right? We're talking about kind of the Ethereums of the world, and we have people that are the highlight of this conference really is showcasing the pros and cons, people's decisions to develop here, there. How do you guys plan to onboard developers onto Arbitrum? And is that through tooling, infrastructure, docs? Is that through community? At the end of the day, right, you want people to start developing dApps and porting stuff over. How do you guys envision people moving over to your guys' technology?
Yeah, so I mean, it's all of the above, but the nice thing, we're in this nice and kind of exciting position so far because if you haven't noticed, the Ethereum community is very eager and excited for these L2s to really come out. So it's not as though it was the short answer is just releasing Arbitrum, putting it on mainnet beta was enough that we got a lot of excitement and we have a lot of teams building on it, and that's awesome. The thing that we aim for and the thing that, is like music to our ears and we've been hearing a lot of lately is having a team say, we deploy it on Ethereum or some other EVM compatible L1 and deploying to Arbitrum, like we're done. We did it. It was just as easy as we're used to. So that's sort of the goal, is that, again, they can use all the tooling they're used to. But we're still going through this mainnet data phase just to sort of ensure everything goes well. But for the most part, we just want to make it very easy. And it's sort of self-evident that Ethereum needs L2s, right? Fees are high. So everyone kind of knows what's going on in L2 world at this point, and is very much ready for it. It's just sort of thinking that what we've sort of seen talking to teams is, I think, when it comes to which L2s they want to build on, they tend to be sort of like agnostic, and they're like, we'll deploy on whatever's there and whatever's ready, which I think makes perfect sense. I mean, teams of, that are building, some sort of DApp as opposed to infrastructure stuff. That seems to be the general attitude with L2s. I'm imagining, and I'm sort of speculating here, maybe you can step in and correct me, Dai, but I'm imagining that if you announce that you're deploying on an Ethereum L2 and you're already in the Ethereum world, it's basically just considered positive. Whereas with certain L1s, I imagine some people are going to give you some heat. Like probably you've gotten some flack for being on Binance, I'm guessing, right? So there's some interesting, like, Alex was talking about some of the technical challenges of interchain communication. And by the way, we could do a whole hour on token bridging, because that's what we've been thinking about lately for a while. So all of the stuff he was bringing up, I have a lot of thoughts on. But these sort of social coordination issues are definitely also a part of that. And yeah, like I said, it seems like applications are fine saying like if it's an Ethereum L2 and it's available, we're happy to be on it. I think there's this other level of coordination that I was alluding to earlier, just sort of between projects, and there definitely is, L1s. There is, to some extent, inevitably they're competitive with each other. I think even with Ethereum L2s, there's some sort of balance there where we're all building in the same ecosystem. We all sort of want what's best, but inevitably, people are going to be comparing us to other L2s, and there's some degree of competition there. So that's something we've been trying to navigate, is finding just the right balance there where we can still, be friendly, still coordinate on standards, things like that, while, still, of course, being biased towards our own system. So I think that's going to be another layer of this challenge moving forward is these sort of, let's call it the social coordination challenges.
And does that play into, we kind of talk about like existing devs, right? Web 3.0 devs. Well, what are your thoughts, since you're an engineer, developer, to bring Web 2.0 devs, right? Like new devs coming into this space. How do you guys, I don't know, add value there? Or what do you think as an industry, that are some of the challenges and hurdles that we need to overcome or that we have overcome? Yeah, to get kind of this native, into this native type of developer excited. What I've learned and what I've seen is like developers like to build cool shit in general and experiment. So they're down to, to try things out. But on the broader spectrum, like, yeah, how do we get some of these, existing devs over and getting into the blockchain space? Because we are building out the infrastructure and the protocols and like, the resources available, the education content, all that above. Like, how do you see us? I don't know. There's a shortage of talent out there. So how do we kind of increase that talent into the space?
Yeah. Sorry, you want to take this one, Alex, or I can.
Oh, I can do, but.
Okay. Yeah. I'll start and just basically say that, first of all, as someone who's been like developing and sort of like Ethereum, Solidity, Web3 stack over the years, the tooling has improved pretty significantly, which is nice. It used to be much harder to, I used to spend much more time on Stack Overflow than I do now. Still spend time there, of course. But, one thing that I definitely think about a lot is, as you said, like just communication, because I think it's easy, as I'm thinking about the answer to your question, I more think about how do we attract, people who are already in the crypto world, in the Web3 world to build an Arbitrum, for example. But this other layer of questions, it's easy. I think I'm probably guilty of this, of losing sight of just how confusing some of this is from the outside. And one thing I definitely think about is communication, both between, communicating with non-technical people to get them to the point where, again, they can sort of reason about the systems. But then there's communication with people who have some technical background, who have development background, and, what even are we talking about when we talk about developing on Ethereum versus Arbitrum and things like that? So, I think it's definitely important. I think you just sort of, when I'm doing things like, public things like this, or writing documentation, or I do some writing on our blog. I definitely try to just like keep those different perspectives in mind as much as possible. But yeah, it is a real, I don't want to say it's a problem, but let's say it's a challenge because things aren't going to get simpler over time, right? As we talk about layer 2 is an interoperability, in some sense years ago when there was just, the Bitcoin chain, the Ethereum chain, it was definitely simpler. So even though we see these things as improvements, and I think they are, it also just makes it a little more intimidating to step in. So yeah.
And I only asked that, and Alex, I'll have you answer too. But I bring these questions up to you guys because there might be some people, right, looking to jump into the space, career changes, trying to figure out what their next move is. We get calls all the time, like I'm thinking about building this, that, and the other. So Alex, kind of the question that I posed really was, how do you guys target developers, like increasing, dApps kind of on your guys' network, getting them involved? Is that through like marketing, education, tooling and infrastructure that you make available? And then the second question that I posed really was, we were talking about like ecosystem devs in the space already. How do we onboard? There's a shortage of talent. So how do we onboard like more people into the space? And Daniel kind of touched on it. We'd love to get your thoughts on how you guys, target developers.
Yeah. So I'm going to second what Daniel was saying. The more standards we have, the more simpler it is to switch from one solution to another. The simpler, and in fact EVM is a standard right now. So in case any L1 or rollup or anything is implementing absolutely the same Ethereum standard from the developer perspective, so the SDK, the set of tools that developers are using there, and the way how you are connecting to this tools, how you're connecting to the blockchain, which in this case is the RPC, endpoints and all the stuff. In case these are sharing absolutely the same interfaces and they are absolutely similar, then the onboarding is super simple. You just say to developers, hey, you just take your stuff that you have been developing on the other network and just deploy, and it works. You do not need to migrate. You do not need to think about the tokens. And by the way, here you have a complete set of Ethereum scaling solutions that have Ether as a base token, right? So there are only 2 solutions in the space that are doing this, right? Or both Aurora and Arbitrum are taking care deeply about the developer experience, because we do not want developers to change anything, right? And since we're using Ether as a base token, developers, even front-end developers, do not need to change price feeds, right? And the smart contract developers do not need to change the integration with Chainlink, because maybe some kind of other token price feed is not there, and there might be some problem. So make it as easy as possible for developers to be onboarded, and this will be then this will open the doors. And for people who are seeking their path in the blockchain, well, my personal advice would be just go get and learn Solidity. This will be the standard for a long period of time. And this will for sure put you in the right spot in the blockchain ecosystem.
Awesome. No, thank you for that. And yeah, I'd like to hear it, from industry leaders, from you three on, perspectives and insights on the direction, what's trending, the momentum, and then ultimately like applications. I bring this up because, like you said, Daniel, it was a little bit like cumbersome, right? It still is. And if we could streamline that, then a lot of these developers and not even developers, but entrepreneurs and founders can just really focus on innovation and really building cool things. And we get our nobody would think of Uber or Lyft, right? And in the early 90s when the internet was kind of booming, and we still don't know what's bound to happen, right, with blockchain coming up. But I got a minute or so here left. That I want to ask kind of, there's a lot of DEXs out there. What's the differentiation, of your guys' project with what's out there, and kind of, we've chatted about some of the benefits of the features that you offer. I'd love to really kind of, when people are looking into DeFi, they're going to come across, Dodo and others. What are some of the features that differentiate from competition in the space?
Yeah, this is a very good question. Yeah, so I think first of all, Dodo has been focused on long tail assets, right? Including the IDO. Now we are offering to users, and also for the fragments NFT assets that we are going to support. Yeah, we will going to build the primary market of blind box selling for NFT asset, and also support users to fractionize NFT assets into fungible tokens for better liquidity. Yeah, and so far, as I mentioned, our core, you know, um, strength is, I think our team has the ability to keep innovating the products and the algorithm. Yeah, so I think, so I believe when we come to the high performance chain, we will and we are exploring more use cases based on PMM algorithm for DeFi users and for new users. Yeah, so like like the effort we are trying now is like expand the scope of assets, and also promoting our training API to more professional market makers. Yeah, and also help market makers that's not in the DeFi space, and but help them onboard them, enter into the DeFi space, and use our algorithm to adopt their market making strategy and make money. Yeah, and somehow share the revenue with our token holders. Yeah, so this is our approach.
No, yeah, thank you. And I think, you guys have a strong team, right? And you guys are always evolving. Just based off this discussion, you guys have thought about kind of the technologies that you're working with, the partners that you're working with. Everything's pretty strategic. Not only that, you definitely keep an eye out, for the end user, to bring crypto users, non-crypto users, and provide, a solution for them, which is great. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. Alex, where can people learn more about your project? Where can they get in touch?
Well, the best place to go is to Aurora.dev website. We have weekly updates. If you want to have, if you have any questions, you can join our weekly Friday calls, public calls, where I share all of the updates on the development. So come and join. You will find all of the info on the website, Aurora.dev.
Awesome. Daniel, how about yourself? Where can people learn more about your project? You get some insights, information.
Yeah, so to learn more about Arbitrum, probably the best place to start is developer.offchainlabs.com. That's our developer doc, our documentation generally. That includes stuff that's geared towards developers getting started. There's also, if you're really interested in digging deeper into the protocol, there's an Inside Arbitrum section, which is sort of effectively our white paper at this point, where you can get, a lot of cool info there. You can follow us at Arbitrum on Twitter, and you can follow me at Dzac23 on Twitter. And I recommend you do.
Awesome. Dai, where can people learn more about your team, get some updates? You guys are always putting out like, products and solutions. Where can, our audience here, our viewers, learn more about your project and your decks?
Yeah, you can find us on Breeder Dodo on Twitter. Yeah.
Awesome. So
yeah, if I just throw in one more plug, we are hiring, and we're hiring for all sorts of positions. So if you're interested, you can find a link through our website, but it's jobs@offchainlabs.com. Please reach out.
I like that. We do have, we do produce this to our 100+ university partners and professors and students. So thank you for that. Hopefully, if anybody's looking for a job, check them out. So yeah, we had a great discussion. Again, appreciate all of you like tuning in, the viewers here, the audience, supporting Reimagine 2021 for the past year. Our panel here, Alex, Daniel, and Dai, taking time out of your day. We're all in different time zones at the moment. But ideally, this is a great discussion. We talked about kind of developer like ecosystem growth. We've talked about interoperability. We talk about the importance and the risks, that are involved there. And we talked about what everybody's been working on really from the Dodo team, Aurora Labs, and Arbitrum. Like, you guys are really solving some pain points in the space. And we have people that are trying to get into the space, and you guys are, making an impact and adding value as much as you guys can. So again, I appreciate that. Reimagine's been sponsored by the Dodo team. They've been on a few times, and we appreciate their efforts. This just goes right back into production and into our university program. So very fortunate, and we thank them for doing that. So again, everybody watching here, we hope you had a good time, and we hope to see you again. Alex, Daniel, Dai, thank you for joining, and we hope to have either you back or somebody from your team to continue the discussion.
Absolutely.
Cool. Thanks, Adam.
Yes.